only starting to remind you of the oil crisis back in the 70s, you're not alone. One man has been there and done that where oil is concerned. It's Sheikh Zaki Yamani, Saudi Arabia's oil minister for 25 years. The Sheikh led OPEC right through that turbulent time. Viewers among you with long memories will remember how world leaders waited with bated breath for his every word about the price of oil. Now with OPEC, as we speak under fire again, I caught up with the Sheikh from his home in the French Alps.
I know the oil companies are really making a very lucrative amount of profit from a high price of oil. I don't think that they're very keen to reduce the price of oil. The consumers are those who are the victims. So I think the producers, the governments, some of them are enjoying a very high revenue that they get. They don't know that the price of this revenue, high revenue, will be disastrous on them because it's encouraging the alternative sources of energy which is coming sometime in the future. How soon, I don't know. But when it comes, the age of oil will come to an end.
So you don't necessarily disagree with those who say we might be seeing the beginning of the end of the era of oil as a source of energy?
Of course, when you have a very high price of oil, see what's happening, and every day we hear about a new invention here and there, but the day they use hydrogen for transportation, this is the day when oil disappears.
He's selling a potential pollution-free fuel for our cars.
Wouldn't it be great if someone came up with a cheaper fuel of limitless supply? Well, in California, some businessmen claim they have. Let's hear their story. One of the people with money in it is pretty well known to most of us.
It's Jack Nicholson, all right. And the car he's driving is unique. It's a standard Chev with a standard engine, but what makes it unique is there's no gasoline in the car. It's running on hydrogen. And the hydrogen was produced by solar power. And this is the first demonstration.
Just like a standard Chevy, and I backed it up because, you know, the last time the automotive industry tried to destroy an independent industrialist, they said a Tucker wouldn't back up. Remember that?
Yeah. It's going to be harder to put this car down. This hydrogen-powered vehicle did back up and it went forward. And this was last week in California. And the news cameramen were more intent on the car than they were on Mr. Nicholson. An engineer explained how it worked.
The gasoline facilities out of this car. They are not there anymore. This line goes into a carburetor. Now, this carburetor is very similar to the one that is in your car now, except that it's been altered to handle hydrogen gas rather than a mist of gasoline.
If nothing else, of course, this will revolutionize suicide. Instead of carbon monoxide poisoning, you'll just get a steam bath. Water. This change in process right here that you see coming up would take 58% of the air pollution out of every city in the world. I would say that a shift in the oil economy might change some of the politics of the world at this moment. There are a lot of very good things that can come from using the power of the sun.
Power of the sun. They claim that these small cells are the key. They aren't on the car. They'll be at the hydrogen production plant. These are prototypes, but they work. They're made of a silicon compound, and they're like small batteries. They absorb the power from the sun, and they produce electricity, and the electricity is passed through water to produce hydrogen and oxygen. And when the hydrogen is burned in the car engine, water is formed again. Silicon is the second most common element on Earth, and these developers, the Solar Hydrogen Development Company, own a silicon mine, and they plan to cover 16 acres on the Nevada-California border with silicon solar cells and produce enough electricity to run factories, to heat and light homes, and of course, to power those hydrogen cars.
They say they'll be able to do it for a quarter to half the cost, about the same as if you were paying 35 cents a gallon for gasoline. They plan to set up hydrogen service stations, not owned by the oil companies, where you'll pull up for a fill-up. The hydrogen will be combined with metal in an inert white powder, which makes it explosion resistant.
And pollutants are almost negligible. There's no carbon monoxide, sulfur gases. Any engine will run on it if it's modified.
It all sounds wonderful, perhaps too good to be true.
Ja, und wie wird das gemacht? Ja, ja. As I sit on this motorized park bench, and I'm having a good time. This vehicle, of course, is not a lot like a modern car. For example, it's basically an environmental disaster on wheels. The hydrocarbons this thing's putting out would land me in jail if the authorities knew. And but it's actually quite fun. And you can see that it beats the horse. Everything is going just according to plan until it explodes.